Hello and welcome to the Empowered by Claudia podcast. I'm Claudia, a registered nurse, certified life coach and founder of Claudia Sabina Wellness. This is a space where we get curious about the thoughts, beliefs and experiences that shape how we show up in life. Through honest conversations, real coaching moments and practical reflections, we'll explore how to feel less guilt, less pressure and more like yourself. Let's dive in. Hi, lovelies. Do you ever worry about making the wrong decision? This is what we're going to be talking about today. So I often have people come to me and say, I just don't know what to do. These are the options. What should I pick? And my role as a coach isn't to give you the answers. It's about asking questions so that you can figure out for yourself what is the right decision to make. What are the pros and cons of both options? And also, what is driving us to make this decision? Are we making this decision as part of like an expansion or a contraction? So an expansion would be that we're full of possibility and hope and excitement and love and just all of those positive emotions that, you know, this is going to be a good decision. This is going to have good outcomes. Or is it that we are making this decision because we're scared? We're letting fear take the reins and make this decision for us. I'm kind of thinking like contracting in. So we're like a little hedgehog that's rolled up into a ball, got all our spikes out, and we are making this decision because this decision feels safest. And I'm not saying that either of these ways of making decisions is wrong, and that actually sometimes it is a mixture of both. But I think often we get so fixated on the idea of there being a right or a wrong answer that actually we dismiss the fact that there can be multiple routes towards the same destination. We don't always need to take the same path. And we often don't know. It's not like, I don't know, like sliding doors, like that you can see, all right, well, if I didn't do this, then that's how that knock-on effect was. All we know is what we're experiencing right now. And yes, we can look back and we can think, oh, maybe I should have made a different decision, but we don't know how that would pan out either. So I think what it really comes back to is actually we won't get that certainty. We won't know what is the right or wrong or suboptimal decision that we're making, but actually to trust in ourselves and to give ourselves that compassion to know that we made that decision from the best place. We had thought things through. We were making this decision. It was an informed decision. And what are the things that what might be coming up? So it might be that we're fearing regret of either doing or not doing something. And there's a phrase like, you'll always regret the things you didn't do rather than... And there's a phrase that you'll always regret the things that you didn't do rather than things that you did. I don't know. I don't know about that. And I can't say for certain if that is true or not, because I think that depends on so many different things. We feel like we need to be perfect. And actually really exploring like, what does being perfect mean? Why is it important to me? How is it influencing the decision that I'm making right now? Am I making this decision for me or for somebody else? I might be saying that it's for me, but deep down, when I really think about it, is this decision for me or is it for someone else? Is it me doing what I think I should be doing? Is it me making the right choice, following the stable career? Being good old reliable Claudia? So what's driving that decision-making process? And do I trust myself that even if the decision turns out to not be as I imagined, do I trust myself that I can pivot, that I can fly, that I can evolve, and grow through this process. That actually the choice we make is the choice we make. And it was my choice. And I was happy with it at the time. And yeah, hindsight might have changed how I responded. But in that moment, I made the choice that I needed to make. And ultimately, most decisions we make are not permanent decisions. But I think it's really interesting to reflect back and think about the process and go, okay, so did I make the right decision? And I've just fallen into that trap of saying, did I make the right decision? But it's not. Again, it's not about the right decision. I don't know how to rephrase it though, to remove the right. Yeah. So tell me. I know you can't tell me because I'm not live, but send me a DM, send me an email, send me a little message by whatever means you can. And tell me about a decision that you are struggling with. It may be about spending money on something that is going to support you. And maybe you're feeling guilty for prioritizing yourself and your own needs. Maybe it's about getting extra support. Maybe it's about extra childcare hours. Maybe it's about getting someone in to do cleaning at home. Maybe it could be anything. So anything there that you're thinking, but I should be able to do this, or other people do this. I think, okay, so just because I should, do I want to? And actually, it's absolutely fine to have a preference. And it's fine to say, do you know what? I can do it. But actually, I'm much more productive if I go off and do stuff that I essentially have to do rather than things that I can do but could give to someone else quite easily. That's going to create more space in our life for joy and fun and excitement. And yes, there are boring things that we have to do, but really just taking a minute to explore these decisions and the choices that we have, and actually just prompting and saying, okay, yes, so I think there's choice A or choice B, but is there any other choices? What are the other options? Can we think this differently? Yes, we always walk this one particular route, but maybe we could go a different way. And yes, it might take a minute longer, but actually, does that really matter? Now, if you're trying to catch a train and you're running late, then yeah, probably will matter. But in most situations, the extra minute is not going to make a difference. But you might see something or someone that you wouldn't have normally come across. It might change your perspective. We get stuck in these routines, and the routines give us the sense of safety and control, and that can be reassuring, but it can also be stifling, and we stop taking in what we're seeing around us because we go on autopilot. We're like, well, we've done this walk before, done this activity many times. And so I just want to ask you, how might decisions look differently if you trusted yourself? If you trusted yourself that you've got this regardless of what the outcome is. That even if you do a scary thing, that you know you can cope regardless. Because ultimately, even though we might feel like we're in control, we're not. It's just an illusion. We can influence things. We can control some things, but most things are outside of our control. And actually, it is how we think about ourselves that dictates our response. So I've talked about this formula before: event plus reaction equals outcome. So the event is something that just happens, yeah? We have control over our reaction, which will then dictate the outcome. So say, for example, you are in the supermarket and you're both reaching for the last watermelon, and the person gets there just before you, takes it, and your reaction could be to get really annoyed and go, I'm so unlucky. Why does this always happen to me? And now I'm going to have to go to another shop. And and my day's ruined and now I'm late and people are just so rude and why didn't they share it with me? Not that you're going to crack open a watermelon in the shop, but you know what I mean. You kind of go into this spiral of this is awful and this has really ruined my day, rather than going, okay, fine, so there's no watermelons left. So can I pick up a different type of melon? Can I maybe go to a different shop? Maybe they needed it more than I did. Maybe they're having a really, really bad day and they just needed a win. And actually, maybe I'm not going to sweat it because it's just a watermelon and I have other options. In both of those scenarios, the outcome is how you're left feeling. So if you are feeling that, okay, well, I can adapt. I can make a different recipe. I can maybe try a different shop. And having that hope, it's very different to that person that thinks that people are rude, that how dare they take the last watermelon? Who do they think they are? That's going to come with you throughout the day. And it's going to impact on the other things that happen in your day. It's going to impact what you're paying attention to. So if you kind of brush it off and don't attach too much meaning to it, you may find that the rest of your day goes smoothly. Maybe you notice some more positive things because you're not focusing on being wronged. You're not focusing on things being unfair. Because if you're focusing on things being unfair, you're going to view anything else that happens through this lens of the world is unfair, bad things happen, and I'm so unlucky. So this kind of links into something that I've learned through my NHS leadership training, but also through my coaching training, is that when we go into a coaching session, is about coaching from the heart or with our heart at peace. And it's the same with any kind of conversation, is actually thinking, okay, so where am I emotionally before I start having this conversation? Because people pick up on that energy. You know, if you go to say something to someone and they turn around and they go, what? You're going to be like, okay, never mind. Or, okay, they're just not going, it's not the right time. And I think it is something for us all to be aware of, is actually what are we bringing with us? And actually, do we need to disconnect from previous emotions? There's an exercise called cord cutting where you can cut off that emotional tie and really just kind of reconnect with yourself, and that knowledge of who you are and where you want to make decisions from, where you want to have these important conversations from. Do I want to be thinking about that thing that happened earlier? Or do I want to be fully in that present moment with that person, not taking the annoyances of the day with me, not bringing them into that session, and having that a safe space that's not coloured by anything that's happened before, that's pure space. And making decisions from this space. Now, there are a variety of ways, like I've already mentioned one about the cord cutting meditation, but also like even just taking a couple of breaths and say, so what decision would I make on a different day? What decision would I make if I was sitting in a happy place? Maybe for you, it's on the beach with the sun shining and the waves gently coming into the shore. Maybe it's sitting in nature, hearing the birds' calls. What decision would I make right then? And how would I respond? Versus how I'm going to respond right now when I'm overstimulated and exhausted and very, very tired. And the reason there's so many things that have kind of amalgamated together with this, but essentially, I started writing an email. If you're not on my mailing list, please do join up. And I was just talking about how I haven't recorded for 2 weeks. And I had this great plan of batch recording lots and having them scheduled, so I didn't have to worry about it over the summer holidays. But things happened and I ran out of time, and I made a decision in the last 2 weeks and actually decided not to force myself to publish a podcast episode. That actually I was going to listen to what my body needed. That may have been the wrong decision. Business coaches will probably say, but you weren't being consistent. But I was honouring myself. And I trusted that when I had something to say, that I would be ready to record. That it didn't need to be perfect. A lot of work goes into creating this podcast. It's audio and video. I have to edit it and then upload it and make the captions and tell people about it. And for me, in the last 2 weeks with the summer holidays and other things going on, my heart was not at peace. I couldn't come on and talk to you like I am now because I was feeling chaotic, because I'm out of routine and because it's been stressful. And we have had some lovely experiences, but it's a lot and I am exhausted and I'm very excited for the routine to get back. Yeah. So for me, I was like, I don't necessarily want to record a podcast when I'm not in the right space to do that. Same with a coaching call. I want to make sure that I am fully present for you, that I am taking on what you're saying and able to ask you the questions that are going to help you gain insight, that are going to help you make that decision. The decision that feels right for you, not necessarily the right decision. Because there is difference. And there is no answer guide that says this is the right decision, this is the wrong decision. That's not how life works. So I do want you to think about how you can trust yourself more, how you can make decisions from a heart-led place. This is not saying that you don't need to analyze things and weigh up pros and cons and everything, but actually, what decision would I make if I was making this decision from a place of growth, possibility of expansiveness, rather than making a decision out of being afraid? Fear of what happens if it goes wrong, fear if I regret it, fear of looking silly, or fear of being judged. Like, what is prompting me to make this decision? And really kind of get understanding about how you make decisions and how it works. And it's fascinating. And you might like to just think this through, or you might like to go and get a pen and paper and journal on it. Whatever works for you. And then just check in with yourself regularly and go, how am I feeling? And do I need to support myself more? And do I need to give myself a break? Because I'm so hard on myself. And actually, there isn't a wrong decision or a right decision. It's the decision that we make at the time is the decision we made. And that's it. So, yeah, the final question, what would you choose if you trusted yourself implicitly? If you've got any questions you want answering on the podcast or any topics you want covering, please let me know. But for now, bye, and I will see you next time. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Empowered by Claudia podcast. I hope today's conversation has given you something to reflect on and reminded you that you don't have to navigate this journey alone. If this episode resonated with you, I would love for you to share it with someone who needs it or drop me down a review. It means the world to me. If you'd like to explore your own thoughts, patterns, and possibilities with support, you can find all the ways to work with me in the show notes or at claudiasabinawellness.com. Much love.